Let me take a few questions from the audience here. Okay. So the first question is from Ben McFarlane. And the question is, what is your favorite Doors song and Doors album?
Oh, boy. It changes over time, but lately I think L.A. Woman album and song.
Love it.
Pretty up there.
Up there, yeah. All right, this one's from Gautos, and his question for you is, who is your favorite flamenco guitarist?
Well, I really like Sabicas because he's probably the most technically great flamenco guy. But at Escudero, he was really good too. I like his the way he plays.
Is there any seminal flamenco album that audience, and myself included, I don't know, a lot of flamenco should start with?
Jeez, well, the first one I heard, my dad had this album in our den growing up. It was called Dos Flamencos, and I don't even remember who the guys were, but if you could ever find that album, it was really good. It was two guys playing flamenco at the same time, and that's what inspired my friend Billy Wolf and I to start playing flamenco.
Amazing. This question is from Haberguy, and the question is essentially this: how do you approach and sustain long creative and personal relationships? And he mentions, throughout Ray's life, you had this both business and personal relationship and musical relationship where you played, and you've been famously married for 50 years, which is a very amazing, incredible thing. Like, what are the keys to sustaining, these types of relationships?
Jeez, that's a good question. I don't know. I think, I kind of learned it from my parents who stayed together all their lives. And, I think you learn from your parents pretty much.
All right. And then this question is from David Landowski. I'm actually very curious on this one too. You've played with so many singers that have sung Jim's songs. I've seen you play with a whole host of them. Are there any that have really, over the last 50 years, that have stood out that you've played with and on stage you're thinking, this is badass?
Oh, God, there's a lot of them.
Or any of them, yeah. If there's a few, that's great. Yeah.
Eric Burden was pretty cool. I played with him on and off for a number of years, and we would do, some of his songs, some of my songs, and because he was a hero of ours, we really loved the Animals, and they had the same instruments as us, the organ and the guitar, so that was pretty cool. Ian Astbury was very good. He's the first guy that played with Ray and I when we got back together with Phil Chen in 2000. He was really, he didn't sing like Jim especially, but he had the vibe down,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys who are really good. Dave Brock is really good at doing Jim. Millie Matijevich from Steelheart is very good. Brett Scallions from Fuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's too many to mention.
Yeah, I just saw you play with Brett a few weeks ago in Agora.
Right. It was right.
Very great. And I've got one last question for you, and I'm going to tie the Doors back with the Soul Savages. And this question is about American Prayer. And in your sets, you play Ghost Song. That's a part of it, and that was on the American Prayer. The question was about how American Prayer came together, and then I'm curious why Ghost Song into the Soul Savages set.
Jim wanted to do a poetry album, and he wanted to have classical music behind it for some reason. So he hired this guy, John Haney, who was a friend of ours, to produce it. And he got this guy, this classical guy, I forget his name, to do the music. but unfortunately, Jim passed away before the music could be done. And I often wonder if the guy has any of that music still in his archives, or if he's still alive. I don't even know. But anyway, so this about 10 years goes by, and we heard the poetry, and it was very cool, and but we didn't think about even doing music to it. And then one time, about 10 years later, I ran into John Haney, and I said, "Hey, John, do you still have that poetry that Jim recorded?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah." He gave me a copy, and after listening to it, I had the idea to put music. We should do it. Who better? Why let some classical guy who probably never even heard the Doors, put music to this stuff? And, because really that's what we were used to doing, was putting music to Jim's poetry. So we did it, and it came out great. It's one of my favorite albums that we've done.
It's pretty amazing. And why the inclusion of Ghost Song with the Soul Savages?
Well, the Ghost Song, I don't know why, but we started playing it with the Doors group. I wasn't thinking of it for the Soul Savages, but we started doing it with the Doors band for maybe it was a anniversary of the album or something like that. So we decided to start doing that song, and then it seemed, we're always looking for some kind of Doors song to sneak into the Soul Savages because, let's face it, people want to hear the Doors when they come to see me play, no matter what. So, we don't do Light My Fire or any of the normal Doors songs, but, deep cuts are okay. Yeah. So we decided, okay, let's do this. And it comes out pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it's such a funky song. Great bass line, great groove. Very great. Well, Robby, thank you so much for the time.